Hello everyone, my name is Riddhi and in today's video I'm going to review The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. And this book is the third book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and I have already read this book completely, and this book has a lot of disgusting stuff that happens there, but that is not a reason to stop reading it because I have gotten started with reading this book, this whole series, so I just kept on reading. And there is actually Camp Jupiter and Camp Half-Blood which have to reunite in this book. And if you do not know, if you haven't read the second book in this book series, there are every time that this had been tried to be done, there had been mass deaths and destruction because both of the camps hate each other, and Camp Jupiter thinks that the Half-Bloods, who are the children of the Greek forms of the gods, are on the side of Gaia, and they think that they support Gaia. So that is really bad. Actually, Greek heroes are not respected in the Roman Legion. So yeah, and in this book, Percy and Annabeth reunite. So you might know what that might mean if you have read all of the books that came before this book. The cliffhanger that this book leaves is just the biggest cliffhanger that I've ever seen in my life, and I can just almost feel the pain that the people who would have felt if they have read the book when this book was released, before the House of Hades was released. Because I had the House of Hades at front of me on the bookshelf when I completed reading this book, but I can almost like feel the pain that the people who would have felt if they have read when this book was released. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys here, but Percy and Annabeth and their other friends, Leo, Jason, Piper, Hazel and Frank Zhang. Frank Zhang and Hazel Levesque they are the Roman demigods in this book, and the rest of the demigods on the Argo 2 are the demigods from Camp Half-Blood. The demigods from Camp Half-Blood go in the Argo 2 to reach the Camp Jupiter, which is where they try to make friends with the Camp Jupiter people. But turns out that the Camp Jupiter people are not very friendly, as you might have already guessed if you have read the books that came before this book. They try to make friends with them, and the worst guy in this book, who is from the Roman Legion, is Octavian, and he just tries to destroy them all. He just thinks that the Greek demigods are bad, they are on Gaia's side and they want to kill them all, which is not true at all. I was actually quite excited to read this book because I thought that the Greek and the Roman legions were going to reunite, but I'm not going to spoil it for you, but that might not end up happening. Leo actually attacks on Camp Jupiter because he has this monster soul that has possessed him. So yeah, maybe I spoiled it a little bit for you. Stuff ends up happening. They just have to pack up and go on to the Argo 2, which if you have read the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series, you might know the Argo 2 that they were building in the first book, which was the Lost Hero. They go on to the Argo 2 and they leave to go to Rome, and they have to go to Rome to find the Mark of Athena. Annabeth tells the story of when she met Athena in her dream, and Athena handed her this coin, which was the Mark of Athena, and told her to find the Athena Parthenos, which is the most valuable thing to the Athens. Athens are basically the children of Athena, and the Roman form of Athena was Minerva, but Minerva was actually a lot different from what Athena was actually in the Greek version of herself. But Athena had this whole military power. She was really wise in the Greek form. She was basically the goddess of war strategy, which she wasn't in her Roman form. which is Minerva. Minerva is the goddess of craftsmanship, artship, creativity, and all that kind of stuff. And the military power was taken away from Athena when in her Roman form, which Athena was really angry at. And Athena was the goddess who was the most attached to the Greek people, because Athena was the patron of the Athens, which is the city in Greece. But obviously the Romans destroyed the Athens, and they destroyed the Athens, took the Athena Parthenos, which is basically a huge statue of Athena, and they just swore to the river Styx that I'm not saying the river stinks, the river Styx. So they swore to the river Styx that the statue would never see the light of day in its whole life. And to this day, the Athena Parthenos is stored underground in some place, and Annabeth somehow actually finds the Athena Parthenos in this book, but in reality it is still stored somewhere down underground, and you could be the demigod who would find it. And yes, and Annabeth actually finds the Athena Parthenos in the end of this book, and she was in a really bad condition near the end of this book, because she is the first child of Athena to ever have done it. And in the end, spoiler alert, she is pulled down into Tartarus by this Arachne. If you don't know who Arachne is, Arachne was actually this weaver who was quite poor. I'll tell you right here. So she was the weaver who thought that she wasn't granted any talent from the gods, and she thought that she gained the talent herself. So she didn't say that the gods gave her the talent of weaving so well. So she believed that she could weave better than Athena herself, which quite challenged Athena. Athena was offended. So she came there and she challenged Arachne to do a competition with her, and they will see who wins. But what happens is that Arachne is so good at her craft that she actually could win potentially against Athena, but Athena said that both of their works were just as good as each other. So, but Arachne was quite angry on that, and she wanted to hang herself. She ran away and she tried to hang herself, but Athena was really angry, and she said that she couldn't kill herself without Athena doing something to punish her. So she turned Arachne into this vicious monster here, and Arachne was the first spider to ever be born. So Arachne was the first monster, was the first spider to ever be born. And that is why you can see that that spiders always like weave so much. And near the end of this book, Arachne tries to kill Annabeth, but Annabeth is smart, obviously, because she is a goddess of Athena, and she tricks her into making a trap for herself. She tricks Arachne to making a trap for herself, which ends up pulling her into Tartarus. And so yeah, and that is the cliffhanger of this book. Percy and Annabeth fall into Tartarus, which is below this whole cavern in which Arachne is guarding the Athena Parthenos. And at the end, Annabeth tells Arachne that you have done a great service to Athena, which really angers Arachne. And actually, I feel quite bad about Arachne in the end of this book, but she is the monster in this book. But so I think that I should be angry at her, but I feel quite bad about Arachne because she was just a weaver who thought that she was more talented than Athena, but like the goddess could have forgiven her or something like that. And being turned into a vicious big spider isn't like a good punishment to something like that, I think. And she ends up dying in Tartarus, which is really bad, and I feel quite bad about her. Anyways, so this book ends on this cliffhanger, and I really love this book, except the disgusting parts, but that's another thing. So yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to my channel. Bye.